Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have an internationally known rock star, Mr. Jay Fox, is on the show. You guys don't want to miss this one. See you in a second. Let me go ahead and bring Jay Fox on the show. Jay, welcome, man.
Hey, thank you very much, Ken. I've been looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Dude, I'm excited, man. You know, we're going to get into what you do. This show, I created this almost 3 years ago now. And it was to help people get unstuck, to help them have a breakthrough in life. And, you know, we all have our stories. We all go through the crap and some of us more than others.
And loads out there of crap.
Right. So, you know, we all go through this stuff in life and we have to figure out how to get through it. And, you know, I think it's healing for people to hear how you got through your stuff. So why don't you start with telling everybody where you were born and raised?
Oh boy. Okay. So we're going to be a half hour because I'm a Navy brat.
It's the internet and it's my show. We can go to 5 o'clock if you want. I don't care. So
hey, with you, I might just do that. Whoops, I just hit something there. There we go. Okay.
Yeah. So
okay. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, back in the 50s. And actually it was Millington. It was Navy Memphis because my dad was in the Navy. 2 weeks later, we moved away. I've never been back to Memphis again since.
Wow.
From there, we went to Key West, Florida, Charleston, South Carolina, Washington, D.C., Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let me think here. Then on to La Crosse, Wisconsin. And then I moved to Iowa for a radio. I got into radio.
At what age?
17.
So were you still in high school?
I was a junior in high school. It was 1973.
Wow.
Got my first job at KAGE in Winona, Minnesota. Winona. And, and I was so excited to be in radio. I didn't care. I just wanted to be in radio. You know, my whole life, my mom knew that by the age of 3 that she knew exactly what I was going to do. My whole life, she says, "Oh no, you're going to be a radio announcer." And I said, "No." And sure enough, that's exactly what my passion just started building from there.
Wow.
And I often laugh with my brother. He says, "You're a year younger than I am," and he's let's see, I'm 65 now, so he's 66. Has no idea what he wants to do with his life. He's he's an unbelievable artist. He makes things with his hands. He's a great commercial artist. So he does those stuff, but he does them very well. But he always says, "I just don't know that this is what I want to do."
Wow.
I always knew exactly what I wanted to do, and started in at the age of 17, like I said. And then then I moved to Iowa for another radio job. And that's where I met my wife. We had 2 children. And then we eventually moved to Wichita Falls, Texas. And
wow.
I was there 2 years.
Now, wait, did your wife work at the radio station?
No. Let's see, how do we do this? I used to be a sheriff's deputy, and we met in the office.
What?
She worked civil. I got a plethora of jobs I have done because my passions are. I don't want to go to the grave thinking I wish shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know, it's like I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. And instead of just wishing, I did it.
Where were you a sheriff's deputy?
In Iowa, in Black Hawk County. And
wow.
Went from there, then came down to Wichita Falls. She came down, found a job at a mortgage company, and she's a paralegal, and she works in law a lot. She works the legal stuff of Fannie Mae now, and so she's got some fingers reaching here, and I'm so proud of her. She's so good. Everybody comes to her for the answers, so that's what I think is the neatest.
Wow.
They show her that respect, so that's cool.
So you moved to Wichita Falls. Now, did you get a job in radio?
I was in radio since I was in Wisconsin. I'm sorry. I started in Winona, Minnesota. In Wisconsin, I lived on the Mississippi River. It's we called it the west coast of Wisconsin. I worked on the east coast of Minnesota, and gotta keep those accents in there. Glenn's not the only one, okay?
Yeah, right. Did you have an accent when you were on the radio?
No, never. Now, because I was born in South Carolina, and they used to pick on me because the word "down" was 4 syllables.
That's funny.
And I went to University of Wisconsin La Crosse to take voice and I actually took broadcasting there, but I decided, well, nobody really cares that Marconi invented this thing. I want to know what to do. So I got into drama and I got into voice and diction, and I thought I'm going to find out what I can do on the radio. I know I can get there. I want to find out what I can do on the radio and how to be an announcer and how to be good. And so I went there, UW La Crosse. Then I started at WIZM in La Crosse. Morning, Kelly.
Kelly's down in Texas. She's in Houston.
Oh, I do lots of weddings in Houston. Lots of weddings. We'll get to that. Anyway, speed me up or slow me down, whichever you want to do there, Ken.
No, dude. This is flowing well. I love it. So you were in.
I was in Wichita Falls, and
Wichita Falls, yeah.
And something there happened, and I wanted no part of it. It was not legal, and that's all I'm going to say, because it was putting my license on the line and the stations. And I wrote the only time I've ever quit from a job, and it was effective immediately. I am no longer handed the boss the letter, and out the door I went. My wife and I went home and prayed. I was out of work for, I think that was 8 weeks.
Wow.
And she wasn't working. I was the only breadwinner. And after 8 weeks, then she was writing, hey, Tim, she was writing out the bills, and she started crying. I said, what's the matter? She says, we have 10 cents in our checking account, nothing else. What are we going to do? And I'm like, I've been looking all over for jobs. I couldn't get jobs anywhere. The whole city knew that I walked out, because the small city, big fish, small pond, And it wasn't even 8 hours later, a chiropractor called. He says, Jay, I've got a overpayment of $800 here. You want me to send this to you in the mail? No, I'll be on my way. And I made my way. I was down there.
Oh, you're like, I'll stop over and pick it up.
It's like, okay, I'll meet you in a second. Hello, Doc. How you doing? It's like, I couldn't make it there fast enough. Got that $800, and literally, this is where I think higher spirits, took a hold of my life. And it wasn't, I don't think it was a week later that KJMZ in Dallas called me and said, I noticed that in the trades in radio that you're in every single trade magazine a minimum of twice every single week. And I have 2 different articles every single week. How do you do that? I said, well, hire me and I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Because I became nationally known with these stunts, all the contests and the things that we would do at that radio station, Wichita Falls. It was 65 degrees on Christmas Day, and we had a guaranteed white Christmas. We had run this big promotion, and every single newscaster, all the TV stations, everybody was broadcasting from our winner's front yard because there was snow. We had over a foot of snow on their front yard. And
in Dallas?
In what?
In Dallas?
In Wichita Falls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is, 3 hours away from Dallas. And we made the front page of USA Today's Life section. I made the front page of the Fort Worth Star Telegram, the Dallas Herald, back then when that paper was huge. And we made the front page of everything. And so, how did you do it? I said, quite well, I think. And all it was, I called an ice company out of Dallas. I said, can you come up here and shave a couple of tons of ice onto someone's front yard? And it looked just like snow. It felt like it. It was great. And believe me, the entire city of Wichita Falls came to play in the snow that night. So it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of great publicity out of that. But all the stunts that I had done, all the things to garner attention, it's like dig us on the radio station. And people from all around the nation started to take notice. I got calls from Chicago and all that. And I finally I wanted to be in Dallas, and I wound up at Jams, 100.3 Jams, which was a legendary radio station until we hit number one, which was a matter of weeks away since we signed on. But the sales department couldn't sell a Churban station, CHR and Urban. It was a dance station.
Okay.
And we were, I'm telling you, we were smoking. Dallas was just, you could feel the rhythm of 100.3 Jams. And they said, okay, we're going to change formats because the sales department can't sell it. Okay. And that's where they cut me loose, because I was at that point the only white person on the air. And they said, well, they were going to go full urban. And
so was it like R&B?
Yeah. It was like, it was the good hip hop from the 90s, Salt and Pepper,
Okay.
you know, and
Yeah.
we were playing New Kids on the Block, and it was danceable. It was there, but it had to have that urban flavor to it.
Yeah, right.
And so just before they switched formats, they said, we're going to go full urban. Does anybody, we need to get a hold of some urban songs from long ago so we can put them in here.
Yeah.
You can see up there is a lot of CDs.
I see them.
Over here, I used to have close to 200,000 albums.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
No, Ken, that was a joke.
200,000 albums?
And then one day they were on shelves. One day they fell over on me. And I had been collecting music since I was, I don't know, maybe 6, I think. Because I love music. And I always tell my wife, I said, I do not want to go to the grave until I've heard every piece of music that's been ever made. I just love music. And there's always music playing. There's ready right there. I'm going to start, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to start my mix and stuff. But it's just music is what I'm all about. So I was the only one in the entire staff that had any R&B, the stuff that they were looking for. So they're firing me, but I'm providing them their format. And I didn't know they were firing me just yet. We implemented all the music. They got it all recorded onto carts, because back then everything was on carts. Like they looked like 8 tracks, but they were, the 2-track. Got everything in, and then they pulled me in and said, okay, here's a check. We're buying out your contract, which was a blessing. Yeah. I found out eventually, and I was done. And that was crushing to me, because I just realized my dream. I made it to major market, everything. It's like, wow, this is what radio is all about. Then I found out what radio is really about.
And you said at this station, you guys became number one. Was that number one in the nation?
Number one in Dallas.
In Dallas, okay.
We finally beat the big R&B station, which everybody loves, and still, well, I don't think it's number one anymore. But we beat Tom Joyner and Dee Dee McGuire and all them. That was on K104. Great urban station. But we beat them. Only periodically, because as soon as we changed formats, our listeners were gone.
Wow.
And then we were going head to head with K104. It's like, wait a minute, you don't win by going head to head. You find an angle and you come in, you wedge it in, But they wanted to do that, and so that was the end of that. And there's people in Dallas now trying to recreate the 100.3 Jams style, and I. Join in on them now as another job to consult them and say, this is what we did, this is how we did it, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, and from there, then when they let me go, then I was out of work for 15 months. And because it's like, how do you go from the number one station to, do you mind if I join in on the number 6 station? It's like, most people might say yes, but most people said no, because they were already full. Dallas was driving with the talents, Everybody, Terry Dorsey and Kid Craddock, everybody was here that was just smoking. It's like, I can't beat that. I can maybe match it.
Now, were you? I don't know how. I know how television stations work, but I'm not 100% on the the radio side. But were you like the head DJ? Were you?
No. Russ Parr was the morning man. He was the man.
Is that the drive time
Morning
guy?
drive time, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I was doing evenings at first, and I wanted to be. I wanted to just. Can I use my name, Jay Fox? And they said, and when I went in to talk to the program director, I said, he says, I love what you do. I want you to teach me how to be in every trade magazine every week. I said, okay. And I said, but I want to be on the air first before I do that.
Yeah, right.
And he says, well, can you do a live audition for me? He says, you give me a recording. Can you give me the live edition and do that at midnight? Well, I had driven in from Wichita Falls, 3-hour drive. I got up at 4 a.m. so I could be there and found the place by 8 a.m. And by 8:15, 8:30, he says, well, will you do it at midnight? I said, I got no place to stay. I literally sat in the lobby the entire day. And in the evening, I said hello to every person that works there, obviously, because everybody.
Yeah.
At midnight, I signed on. I said, can I use my own name? And he says, no. I want you to be Charlie Quinn. I don't feel like a Charlie. What are you talking about? And I said, well, who's Charlie Quinn? And then it hit me. Where we were broadcasting from, 2 floors below us, was another big radio station in Dallas, Y95. And the program director's name, he was not on the air. He was off the air. His name was Charlie Quinn. So at midnight, I had to sign on. I said, good evening. I'm Jay. Good evening. I'm Charlie Quinn, and I've made the switch to 100.3 Jams. Phone rings. It's Elroy, my new boss. He goes, congratulations, Charlie. You got a job. He just wanted me to go on and signal that. And so from that point on, I was Charlie Quinn. I finally met Charlie one day in the elevator going up to our stations. I am so sorry they made me do it. He says, well, if they're going to do it, at least they got someone with a decent voice. But I mean, it was just a blast. That station was a blast. And
and what kind of music was it?
That was the Churban station. CHR and Urban mixed together. It was the dance thing. You could feel the organicness of that station all around the city. People turn on the radio station. One song would come on, but through processing and everything else, you knew exactly what radio station you were listening to.
Like what you say, Churban? What's
CHR is contemporary hit radio. Okay.
Like what? Give me an example of a popular song
of CHR.
Yeah.
Okay. Back then, let's say it was Backstreet Boys. It was,
okay.
Yeah, it was just danceable top 40.
Got it.
And we mixed that with the urban danceable, and they called it Churban. It was a very short-lived title, but we owned it.
Wow.
We owned it, and we signed on with you say things like don't touch that dial, it's got jam on it. And people all over the nation of the city were all going, I got jam on it. They couldn't wait to get jam on them. So we had T-shirts made and bumper stickers. I mean, it was organic and it just grew like crazy.
Was that did you come up with that?
No. I wish I had. That was Elroy Smith. He went on to Chicago and Baltimore, I believe it was. He's still cooking. He's all over the place.
Now Dallas though has to be a pretty big market, I would imagine.
I think
10.
We're about 7 million total, and there are about 55 radio stations here.
Is there really? Wow.
Yeah.
But that would be in the top 10, maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were in the top 5, for
really
a long time. Yeah, and we hit the number 1.
Wow. So
I just have to have a dry throat today. I just got off the air. What am I talking about?
Yeah, right. So you now you did this urban Churban dance. Did you ever do any country or any stations?
I started out doing my very first radio station was in KAGE Winona and Minnesota, and I was so excited. I knew I wanted to be in radio. I went into Rick Happenfuss, I think it was I knew him by a different name because the general manager had a radio name too. And
wow.
Rick Happenfuss was the general manager, and he hired me on the spot and said, yeah, come on in. And so this is me getting into radio. Okay. The very first. And I'm so excited. I go home, I tell my mom, and it's on my birthday. So I'm reliving WOLD from Harry Chapin, on my birthday. And that's when I got my radio job. And I went in first Saturday morning. They had me do Saturday mornings. And I walked in and I said, can I ask one quick question before I get in here? Yeah, sure. No problem. What's up? And I said, what kind of music do we play? I had no idea. I took a job in radio to get into radio. And he says, oh, they didn't tell you? It's beautiful music. Mantovani, Henry Mancini. It's like, okay.
Did you ever do like top 40?
I
Any?
did top 40. I did
Yeah.
country. I was at KXEL in Waterloo, Iowa, 50,000 watt clear channel station. I'd be on the mornings and somebody would call me from Australia. You know, hey, mate. Yeah, that's it. It's snowing down here.
You know, I'm in Ohio, and we have 700 WLW in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah,
and that's a big station.
That's a monster, baby.
And I'll never forget this. I was moving to Seattle, and I'm driving through Montana, and they call it Big Sky Country, right? And it's laid out, and I'm like, I just wonder if I can pick 700 WLW. And dude, I picked it up in Montana. Montana.
Yep, you bet.
I'm like, how the heck is I'm getting 700? So I mean, yeah, it's fascinating.
You know?
Yeah. It's fascinating as heck, man. And I'm friends with Carrie Kasem, Casey Kasem's daughter, and so yeah, man. Like, and you've got the golden voice, man. It's incredible.
I wish they would hire me to do that show because I grew up listening to that show. Both my kids, when they were born, I have the AT40 from the day they were born. That happened to fall on the day that it was the broadcast began. So they would send me these vinyl discs. Here's Casey Kasem's show for the week. All right, I'll put it away, and we're going to play it on Saturday morning. And both kids were born on Saturdays, and so I've got those in the closet here right now. Here's the music that was really popular the day you were born. So
are they framed?
Oh no, they're just there. I could probably dig them out real quick.
Yeah, that's funny. So what would be cool is to digitize them.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's
digitizing all my Beatles shows that I did and getting everything protected because we did stuff on DAT, and of course, who's got DAT players anymore? And so I'm getting it all on digital, and I've got most of my shows now digitized, but not all of them.
Wow. It's crazy. So you were in Dallas. You got fired because you gave them all the goods, and they decided to just move on without you. Yeah. And fired is such a strong word. It wasn't like you did anything wrong. They just
They said, you're out of here. What?
Yeah. So
I got to tell you that I also cut my teeth. Somebody we were talking about, I think, yesterday, John Records Landecker in Chicago, WLS. And I cut my teeth listening to him when I was still in high school. I was in Wisconsin, and I would, at night, in my 62 Buick Special that I bought for my grandmother for $25. And I would sit in the driveway in this little itty-bitty car in the middle of winter in Wisconsin. I'll let you imagine that.
That's cold.
So cold.
Yeah.
And, there's just a small shell of a car, and I had no radio in there, but I had a great transistor radio. And so I taped it to the dashboard, and I would turn on WLS every evening, and I'd listen to John Landecker. I finally got to meet him, who's, I don't want to say idol, but I just idolized the guy because I learned radio by listening to him. And I finally contacted him a few years back here, and I lost it on the phone. Oh my God, I just think you're just I'm so sorry, I'm crying, but I can't figure out where this emotion is coming out. I said, it's out of total respect. You got to understand, dude. This is nothing to boogie check, ooh, ah. And I'm going, yes, that's what I want to do for a living.
Wow.
I finally meet him and I lose it. Well, it's gotten much better since then. And I don't feel so embarrassed calling him up anymore. So,
well, I think something else that because a lot doing what you've been doing, there's a certain level of celebrity that comes with that, at least on a local level, right? And
on one case, but yeah.
Do what?
National on one case.
So you became this celebrity. How did that? How as you started really, what's the word? You started really getting into stride, and your career started moving. And how did that impact your life, or did it? The celebrity.
The celebrity kicked in when I was, I think I was still in Iowa. No, it was in La Crosse, in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I was doing the mornings there. So I went from KAGE, where the general manager comes in and says, "You suck," slams the door. It's nowhere on radio. And the next year I sent him #1 ratings from a station in Wisconsin, which was on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
I said, "Thank you for your inspiration. And thank you for telling me I sucked," because I then woke up and thought to myself, how do you unsuck? So
yeah,
I started studying I went to voice and diction and, all that stuff that I could from the University of Wisconsin La Crosse. But I basically listened to people who were in this profession. And how are you speaking? And that's when I got rid of my Southern accent, by the way. And so I started I went to an English class, voice and diction. And I said, I want to learn how to speak the upper Midwest style of speaking. It's a choppy, very blocked speech pattern that everybody understands. And I to this day, I still get phone calls. I can so understand every word you're saying on the radio. And I appreciate that, because it's like, thank you very much. There's part of college right there. But from that point on, then I went on to, when I got to Wichita Falls, that's when I got the name nationally for my promotions. And then I went to Jams. And then from Jams, when they finally let me loose, like I said, I was out of work for 15 months or something like that. And lo and behold, ABC Radio Network calls me. And says, "We like what you do. Could we talk to you?" I wash windows. I scrub the floor. That's all I'm doing right now. And, And I went to talk to them. We went to lunch. And this was in Dallas. This was the Dallas hub from ABC.
Okay.
And we went to a lunch, and the program director and the consultant, whatever, for the station, sat down with me, and they said, "Well, first off, what we're going to do is I want to do a little trivia question with you. I want to know how well you know oldies." And I started grinning on, "Hey, man, I have loved music since I was a kid." And I said, "Yeah, let's talk." And they would do trivia questions to me on oldies, because obviously we're going into an oldies format. And I figured really quickly. And I found myself correcting them.
Geez.
The Beatles, they came in 1965. No, I'm sorry, that was 1964. It was, and I, give dates and stuff like that. And I kept correcting them. And then I got really embarrassed because I realized what I was doing. I said, "I am so sorry. I don't mean to correct you guys, but I know this stuff, and I can't stand it when someone gets the information wrong. And at the risk of being a jerk, I'm trying to help you understand and enjoy this fact, this truth, this music as much as I do. Just get it correct."
Yeah.
And then I went on to then they hired me that day, and I went on to ABC. I was doing the mornings there for years.
Now, is that just in the local market, or is that nationwide?
World. We were broadcasting the troops in Afghanistan. I had a stack of flags that soldiers would send to me saying, "Thank you. You're home for us." I'm doing the morning show, but it's like 2 p.m. or something when they hear it. And they would send me these flags and stuff. And it was just great. All over the nation, all over the world, we were talking. And I was on 855 stations, I believe it was. And every Wednesday we would do Stump the DJ. And I'd open the phones and say, "All right, any question about anything about music from the 60s, 70s. Yeah, 60s and 70s. And you just answer. If you can stump me, you win." I went 4.5 years without anybody stumping me.
From the 50s, 60s, and 70s?
Oh, yeah, I love music.
Oh, my gosh. Scott McCain.
Oh, yeah, Scott's a great guy.
Dude, do you know Scott? You guys know each other?
I saw him on Sunday.
You'd be able to have an amazing conversation, because I'm pretty sure you're two peas in a pod when it comes to that.
I relate to a lot that he says. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. I'm sure you do. He started in radio.
Oh, really? Yeah. I started in a country kitchen, I think it was. I was a cook.
Yeah. Wow.
But
So you so here when was that you landed on ABC radio?
1990, I'm trying 95 or 96.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was there until 2011.
Jeez.
And they came in, and we were on ABC was then bought out by Disney, and
yeah,
which I absolutely loved because they bonused me with stock the moment I walked in. I'm
nice.
loving them lately, I'll tell you. But from there, then I went golly, where out of ABC. Then I went to then I was let go, and I thought that's it. I'm done. I'm getting too old.
With radio. Yeah.
Baby, yeah, it's radio. Oh, get up at 3 a.m. and I'm doing I got to do this. I come home, and my wife and I, when we were dating, we went out on a date. I took her at 5 p.m. As soon as she got off work, we went out to dinner, saw a quick movie. 7 o'clock, I'm taking her home.
Because you're tired.
And her neighbor comes running out of the door after I left. She goes, What did you do to him? He walked out at 7. She goes, he's got to get up at 3.
Yeah. Wow.
And now I get up at 1:30, so it's even worse. But jeez. I'm broadcasting from home, so that makes it nice. But, but I was going to go to the point there. We'll just go on to something else that you can think of here.
So you left ABC and in 2011, and where did you go from there? Because I know you at some point you started doing wedding DJ stuff and all kinds of stuff.
I started doing weddings in high school when I was a junior.
Oh, wow.
Our librarian knew that I wanted to be a DJ. To her, that was the DJ. That right there, mixing and all that stuff. To me, DJ was on the radio. It was two different definitions. But I thought, that might be kind of fun. She says, would you do my wedding for me? Yeah. I said, yeah, I'd be like to. Yes, that'd be great. And so I did it, and that was an eye-opener for me. But when it really became an eye-opener was 30-some years ago when I did my daughter's wedding. And she says, Dad, I want you to be my DJ. I said, I can't. I'm the father of the bride. Come on, that's not even fair. She says, and you're going to sit there in that room with another DJ, and you're going to critique every move he does. I said, no, I won't. Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Yeah.
It's it's just an occupational hazard. And you find all the mistakes. You go, wow, I would have done that a little bit smoother. I would have said it this way.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did her wedding, and that was the thing that woke me up to what weddings are really all about and how difficult it is. And that has been, gosh, she was in her 30s. She was in her early 20s. So anyway,
wow.
I have now, from that point on, let's see that. From there, I've got to fit this puzzle together.
Yeah.
I was then in Dallas. Dallas said, okay. Oh, I was at ABC. And Disney had bought out ABC and then decided to sell them off. And they walked in and said, you, get out of here. Well, I was also a firefighter at the same time. Another part of my life. And the security says, there's no way we're going to walk a firefighter out of this building. They said, Jay, you take your time. And thank you for the respect. That's the only respect I got in the building.
Wow.
I have great friends there, by the way. That was the best time of my life. The best time was at ABC.
Wow.
And, it was just cold the way they let us go because it was new management.
Yeah.
And so they got rid of me. And from there, I had decided that's it. My spirit is crushed. I don't want to do this anymore. It's no longer fun. It's now a job.
Yeah.
So I left there, and weeks later, I got called from Westwood One. They weren't Westwood One at that time. It was called Dial Global, and just a little startup. Well, Westwood One, they hired me, and I started doing an oldies program here. It's kind of like, why am I doing oldies? I want to go back to country so bad. I love country music.
Yeah.
But I did oldies because I knew it, I guess. And so I did all that, and then they sold, then Westwood One. Cumulus bought Westwood One, who had bought us. This whole conglomeration of radio as of late. And so now I work with Westwood One, recorded the winning commercial for the Super Bowl in 2015, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was in 14. It was when I came to Westwood One. but I'm still doing it. I still love doing it, and I love getting up at 3 a.m. or 1:30 in the morning.
And what it like on what you're doing now? Is it music?
Oh yeah. It's a
Oh,
full
okay.
program. Yeah, it's a full program. The only difference is that I look over at the computer.
Right.
We didn't have computers in the 70s and the 80s. It's like, nah, I didn't do it. You had 45s. I remember playing commercials off of 2-inch reel-to-reels. You put it on a reel-to-reel, you hit the commercial. All right, here's Bob's Chevy, blah, 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 blah. And while that's playing, you're getting this other one up. So once that's done, you start this little reel-to-reel. You change this one out quick as fast as you can. And you're doing this, and the very last one, then you're queuing up a record. It was a very physical job. But when you see, I'll look at Wolfman Jack, whom I also worked with, by the way.
What?
Yeah, just a side note.
That's a pretty big side note.
I loved it. Yeah. I started, jumping from that, and then now we're on to computers. The music is all here. It's already pre-programmed. I just come in, I do what I do around the music that they choose. And that's the way that radio has really changed. And there's very little radio that's doing real personality. We are I think the last that, because like I said, I worked with Wolfman Jack. He taught me how to be a personality. John Landecker, John Records, and Records truly is his middle name, and he proves it. But learn from him, and everybody from WLS. I mean, everybody. I used to steal all the jokes from WLS and do them the next morning at WIZM in La Crosse. Oh yeah, I heard this great. And I had a guy call me from New York, Hollywood Henderson, I believe it was, and he called. He says, I'm working over in Sparta, Wisconsin, at WCOW. Oh, Cow Radio, yeah, know it well. And he says, I gotta admit something. He says, you're my inspiration. I said, oh. He says, every morning I drive into work. I do middays, but every morning I drive in listening to you on the morning show at WIZM, WIZM. He says, I steal every one of your jokes and then I do them there. Now I'm in New York and I'm in Iowa. Hey, thanks for listening.
I mean, that's got to be what New York's got to be number one, right?
Yeah, they're number one. Yeah. He's doing great. And it's just, and that's the way radio is. You may know somebody. That's how I know people in the top markets. I know people in small markets. It's I say the ladder of success is that and you've heard me say this before, is that the ladder of success is that you find people better than you and you learn from them. Yep. But you never forget to turn around and help other people up that ladder who are behind you. And this is a craft. You really cannot learn it in a classroom. It's like jumping. It's like swimming. You can't learn it in the classroom. You got to jump in the pool. So I jumped into the pool and burn and learn. And I learned how to do what I do and had a lot of great friends. Still have great friends, acquaintances and relationships that have gone back now. This is my 48th year, I think, in radio. So I'm 50. I started when I was 4. No, I already told you my age before.
Yeah. Dude, that is absolutely amazing. So you and I remember Scott McCain saying that his first radio job was at WMPY. It was literally Wimpy Radio.
Well, let's see. I guess I can get it on away because I've heard words on here. In Waterloo, Iowa, we changed the radio station, the FM station, to the call letters KOKZ. Oh my God. Our tower is the biggest. And it was so I changed it.
Oh my God.
Director, I said, we're not going to call ourselves that. Who in their right mind did this? And for some reason, that's what they wanted, was those letters. I know, yes, Ernest, I know Colonel St. James very well. He was my boss in Dallas for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. But welcome. Jump back now. Old age coming in.
Yeah. So this is I mean, my gosh, you have had Sandy says, oh my, about the station letters.
We all did. I'm telling you, we all did. It's like, oh, great news. Thank you. What are we going to do with this? Oh,
yeah, no. No, that's bad. So you, I mean, you've had, my gosh, you've had a lot of changes. I mean, a lot.
A lot, but not as many as most people do.
Really?
I'm on a minimum amount of radio stations. Usually DJs will be switching stations every 2 years, finding something out. I stay a minimum of 10 years at each station, I guess it is. And,
Wow.
In fact, I hit my 10th year this year with Westwood One.
And I don't think that people realize that. I don't think most people realize that radio stations are, not all, but a lot, most are owned by a big conglomerate like
nowadays,
Westwood One and what's the really big one? Clear
Channel. I don't want to talk about them. What they did to this industry, I just really have hard feelings for. They are now iHeart. They changed their name because their reputation really got burned, and so they became iHeart.
Really?
I remember there was a video going around, and they couldn't get licensing because it was so damaging to Clear Channel, and they called it. It is true. It is true. Thank you, Joe. Clear Channel had a video out. Somebody was saying how they destroyed radio, and they nailed it. I mean, they discussed. We knew it all along. It's got. God, they're in bed with these record companies. No,
well, dude, you're not gonna like this, but this is on iHeart.
That's all right. That's okay. I like iHeart. I mean, this is the past. This is Clear Channel beforehand. That's why I said that they changed their name to iHeart. I think just to get rid of that bad past, and it was the smartest thing they could have done. I think what they're doing now is fine. They have the most podcasts. They've got great programmers. And good stuff.
And that's something I don't know. I actually hear we live in a really tiny market outside, like an hour north of Columbus, Ohio, which means we're still in the DMA of Columbus. But there's a little radio station here, and it's owned by iHeart. And I know the main guy, the main DJ here, and
I know they hate me, and I apologize. I didn't mean to come off that one. No.
It's all good. I'm
going to bring it to you.
I think it's interesting. I love. I mean, it's old school, right? I mean, I'm 52, and I remember Saturdays sitting by, and my brother and my sister and I sitting by her radio and listening.
Ready to hit record when the song starts, and turn it off quick before they talk.
Yeah, and listening to Casey Kasem and
Casey Kasem. Yeah.
It's crazy. I remember I picked Carrie Kasem up at the airport in Vegas, and we were talking. I'm like, your dad is like I can hear his voice right now. Like it's just embedded in me.
Ground and keep reaching for the stars. Yeah, I met him at the grand opening of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, did you really?
An unbelievable kid's dream come true. Anybody who is anybody, from Yoko Ono to B-52s, whatever, they were all there.
Wow.
And, I met Casey Kasem, and I was doing a Beatles program at ABC at the time, and I was asking every star I knew, do you remember where you were the first time you ever heard the Beatles? Which are stories that are just amazing. And one of these days, I guess I'm going to publish it when I get around to it.
Wow.
Casey Kasem was just genuine. He was so nice. Keep your feet on the ground. That's right, Joe. And he was just genuine, so nice. And it was a hard day when I heard that he had passed.
Joe said, "I can." It's not fake. Those are real record players. Come on, man. See, it's real. Yeah. See, so
controller. I don't use them. I got a controller. I'm learning how to use it because I'm a wedding DJ. I still do it the old-fashioned way, but I'm now an internationally award-winning wedding DJ.
Wow.
Lux magazine out of England called and said, for some reason, your name is flooding our voting thing, and you have been chosen the best wedding DJ. Thinking, what? So, I don't know. I don't know if my wife paid them off. I don't know if my kids paid them off.
Wow, dude.
I just
That
do what I
congratulations.
love. When I do a wedding, switching now over different careers, um, when I do a wedding, it's unlike anything anybody else does. When I did my daughter's wedding, it woke me up and I realized, how can I make this a very, very impactful wedding? Because your wedding is it's the biggest day of your life, probably the biggest party you're ever going to throw. And so I want it to be perfect for not just the bride and groom or the parents. I want it to be perfect for people who don't even know the couple. They came as guests of guests, and they, Joe, I knew it. It had to come from somewhere.
That's funny.
But um, so they've given me this award now as an international DJ. It's like, I like that. I'm doing weddings. I've done one in New York. I've done one in Riverside, California. I did, all over, Arizona, just all over the nation as well.
Yeah.
Mostly based in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. And because it's just easier to do that and my radio job, because if I've got to be out of town, I got to be off the radio. But I just love doing it. And what I do is I do it on an emotional basis. I'll tell people, I said, when you go to a really good movie, or whatever, when you went to see the latest Denzel Washington movie, which we can discuss, and you thought, wow, that was so good. We have to own that when it comes out. And I always say, just like a really good movie, your wedding is the same thing. It has a really good plot. You are the plot.
Yeah.
It has a great soundtrack. I'll take that. And that everybody in the theater experience all these different emotions. That's the secret. And I've got no problem telling people, here's my secret to my success. It's emotions. I make sure that every wedding has all the emotions. There's one point I do a thing called love note ceremony, where I have the bride and groom bring me a bottle of wine and love notes to each other. They've not seen each other's notes to them. They're all sealed up. And first off, I surprise people when I step out on the dance floor and say, I have something I'd like to say about the bride and groom. And
they're like, not the DJ, no.
Oh, no, the DJ's going to talk. Let me jump a little aside there. First time I open my mic and I welcome the bride and groom in, somebody invariably walks up and says, radio or television, which is it? Yes. But anyway, we do that, and then I surprise everybody. I say, we've got these. I wanted to mark the evening, and so I asked them to each bring me a bottle of wine, or the two of them to bring me a bottle of wine, and I pull it out of the jacket, surprise, and I have a wine box also. I hand that to the groom, put the wine box or the wine in the box. I said, I also asked them to write each other a love note. And in this love note, I want you to capture not only how you feel about one another, but all those little bizarre, weird things that you do when you're in love when the beginning of stages of love. Sweetheart, I think you're just so special. You are the sunshine of my life. Really? Did I just say that? Yeah, and things like that. And those are the goofy moments you remember. Hey, pumpkin. And I want them to write every bit of that down in these love notes. Not for anybody to hear, but I also tell them, I said, I promise you, nobody in the world will see these letters. But that's not the impression I'm going to give. So we go through this whole ceremony, and I get to the letters. I said, man, they wrote these love notes, and I explain what's all in these things. And I hand it to the bride and groom. I said, now, would you read these to us out loud? And you can just feel the entire crowd move back. Oh, gosh. And I jump out of it quick. So, it's like, nah. So you have surprise, you have drama. There's that moment of drama, which is really hard to get at a wedding. And then laughter, because of the fact that we get out of it. But then I go into this romantic thing that I say, because I'm a hopeless romantic. And at the very end, I tell the couple, I said, watch your guests on the very last sentence here, because everybody in this room is going to go, oh, that's so romantic. Why don't you do that? But we jump out of it with humor quickly, because it doesn't get sappy, and nobody's doing that, and they're fighting all night.
Right.
But I generally get people who come up and say, that's the best thing I've ever seen at a wedding. I said, no, not yet. You got one more. It's coming. And I put that throughout the evening. Little surprises that really do all this emotion. And invariably, most every person who comes out of a wedding says, that's the best wedding I've ever been to. I'll say, thank you, but you're the one that did it.
I got to tell you, because we met through Glenn Morshower, who we both adore.
I had to pay him off a lot of money so I can meet you. So
yeah.
how big you are.
he's like, hey, Jay wants your cell phone number. Are you okay with that? And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Background yet? I want to know.
Yeah, no. But I got to tell you the funniest story. I don't know if did you ever hear the story about him driving through, I think it was Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on his way over to, he was filming a movie over at John Schneider's place.
Oh, yeah.
Bo Duke from Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
little hood sliding.
Yeah. So he was over there. This was just I don't know, 6 months ago, 5 months. I don't remember how long ago it was, but Glenn, we're on the air, we're talking, and he goes, so I'm driving through, I think it was Baton Rouge. I don't remember, but he said, I'm driving through, and dude, I listened to this one radio station, and the most angelic voice of this woman who works at a radio station in Baton Rouge. She's amazing, and she's just got this loving, caring voice, and she's listening. People are calling in and talking to her and telling their stories, and she's just this heart-centric, beautiful woman. And I really want to help her. I want to get, like, the whole world needs to know about this woman. And he's building this whole story up, and I'm like, okay, cool, man. Well, who, what radio station? And he's like, I think he mentioned it. And then he goes, he says, she needs to be syndicated nationwide. And I go, okay. And he goes, her name is
Delilah.
Did you hear that story?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I said, dude, I hate to break this to you, but the whole world already knows who she is.
I get people when I'm in stores and they talk, I'll talk, and I go, I think I know you. Yeah, I know your voice. Have you ever thought about being in radio? No, not for 48 years now. I mean, it's already in my mind. It's done.
Might look into that someday.
I don't know. I just love doing it. I love the fact that I've made close friends with a lot of the stars. And it's not that it's starstruck. It's just the special angles and things that you have access to people. I wrote the forward to a book about Paul McCartney when he was supposedly killed in 1969, and it was the Great Beatle Death Clues of 1969. I wrote the forward to that book, great book from R. Gary Patterson out of Nashville. And I think it's still available. But anyway, did that. I was working with Janet Jackson for a while on a big promotion when we were at Jams.
Wow.
And I called
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
If you're nasty. And I go, yo, Janet. Yeah. And I worked 2 weeks with Alice Cooper. I worked 2 weeks with Ted Nugent. Jerry Mathers, also that was the Beaver. And after Jerry Mathers was on my show for 2 weeks, I found out I was training him how to be a DJ, which they thought, the owners thought, or my boss thought, would be kind of a fun angle. Teach him how to do this for 2 weeks. Okay. At the end, they said, well, you think he's any good? I said, he's not a DJ. He's not. I'm sorry. The guy's great. I loved him as a kid. He's not a DJ. Okay, well, good, because he was going to replace you. Oh, thank you for that. And that was my first one I went in. But no, it's some of the stories, they're just so bizarre, so weird. I was with Bon Jovi the day they went from nobody to somebody. We were doing the Slippery When Wet album came out, and we were at a jewelry store in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, doing an autograph party. Why suddenly 3,000 kids showed up for a jewelry store? I'm thinking, why do we put this autograph party in a jewelry store? There's a few diamonds sitting around.
Yeah.
But halfway through the autograph party, the session, they get a phone call from their boss. By the way, your album today, as of right now, is #1 in the nation. They were opening for 38 Special in Cedar Rapids. 38 Special comes on, the place is packed. I'm sorry, Bon Jovi comes on because they're opening act. They come on do the show. The place is packed. It's just, oh, it's such a great concert. And they were so alive because they'd just gotten this fresh news. So they were just hyped. They were ready to party.
Oh, yeah.
Lights come up halftime. You know, they're going to do the intermission. The lights are up and they're changing out the sets. Lights come down. 38 Special comes on. Lights come up. There's less than a third of the audience there. Because they realize, oh, we're no longer the opening act or the headliner. Bon Jovi was. And then from then, I worked with Cinderella. That group was great.
Yeah. Wow.
Stuff with Heart. I did. I'm looking at my pictures on my wall. So Grand Funk Railroad, Little Richard. I spoke with him for a long time, talking about him and Paul McCartney, and how he taught Paul how to scream. Michael Jackson.
You know, I had a guy work for me that was the sound production engineer, the tour sound production engineer for Extreme.
Ooh,
and Extreme toured with Bon Jovi. And I got to go. I had backstage, and I never made it backstage. That's another long story. We won't even get into that, but they wouldn't let me backstage.
One thought, quiet, but
I would say there was a lot of rum involved that night. But you know, I think it's cool because I know that you've been. I'm sure you've been at concerts where you. Because I've been to many, and you know, they always call the local DJs out on stage to make announcements.
Introduce us.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
My memory on that was introducing the Letterman back in the 70s. And ladies and gentlemen, here are the Letterman. And I turned to walk around and I thought, there is no tape on any of these wires. Nobody's taped anything down. And guess who hit the floor?
You did?
Yeah, I tripped over the wires.
Oh, man.
I was humiliated. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm the morning DJ in this town. And it was in that same city that I saw Queen on there when they snuck through America. They only did 4 or 5 dates in America. They were testing the waters to see if they could make it here. And I literally was leaning on the stage, Freddie Mercury right here in front of me, singing. And I'm going, dang, these guys are good.
Wow.
And it wasn't until few years ago that I even realized that was when they snuck through. I thought that was, you know, full blown tour. No, 5 cities throughout the nation. And
wow.
So,
dude, you have you've had a life, man.
I'm blessed and undeserving. I said, my wife says, you better write your own eulogy because I have no idea all the people you've met. I started typing on the computer, typing lists of the trying to remember. Okay, did I meet so and so? I'm on my 3rd page, single line, double columns. And I'm just, wow. I met President Kennedy 2 weeks before he was assassinated on my birthday.
Oh my God.
So now you know when my birthday is. So, and then we moved to Dallas, the last place I want to go in the world. And I'm going to get acclimated into Dallas. And I go down I-35, and I make this turn. I think, oh, this looks like downtown. So I made a turn. Where do I wind up? Right in front of the grassy knoll. And my whole body, because I hated my birthday for 10 years, a minimum of 10 years after I had met him. And we lived next door to his personal bodyguard.
Oh my God.
Security was a lot different back then.
Yeah.
And this was in 1963. And we went to meet him and got pictures and autographs. My dad was one of the people that was on the autopsy team. I mean, my whole life has been around Kennedy. And now my dad, who passed, he willed me all the x-rays and all the stories about him, and the museum, the 6th floor museum, is just begging for those things. It's like,
wow, dude,
I want to finish reading them.
That's crazy, man.
I'm not supposed to know.
You know, this show is about breakthroughs, and I know you just have told a bunch of stories about breakthroughs you've had, but I have a question for you. Like, what do you think? And this is about your opinion. What's your opinion when it comes to what holds people back in life from success and joy and freedom? What do you think holds most people back?
Themselves.
How?
I am one of these people that if I'm excited, if I'm happy, if I want to do something, I do it. I'm happy. I let it out.
Yeah.
I live my life out loud. Yes, you wear your heart on your sleeve. Yes, I do. And it's a good sleeve. I keep it clean. they think they can't. If you want to do something, and the younger you are, the better. The younger you are, if you think, one of these days I'd like to be a stenographer. I don't know, it just came up.
Yeah.
Then why let anything or anybody stop you? That's your life. Go for it. And like I said, my mom knew exactly what I was going to do, and she stepped back, and she was the biggest cheerleader for me. I'm going to get emotional because I just lost her last year. And that was the thing. I just constantly knew exactly what I wanted to do, always, since I was a little kid. And then I just added on to that. And it's like, what else can I do? And when I realized that I made it just by perseverance, and when someone tells me no, I take that as ambition. It's like, don't tell me no, watch this. And many, many people have gotten a little note from me. Thank you for saying no to me, because it made me, I was infuriated, and I use that as energy. And now I'm at ABC Radio Network. Where are you? Winona? and I don't do it sarcastically. I'm sorry. No, but I send them a nice note and a nice bottle of wine or a nice present like that, just to thank them. I called the DJs I grew up with in Booby Nash, WTMA in Charleston, South Carolina. No one living around the nation. And I called him up a few years back to thank him for the inspiration when I listened to him to get into radio. And he goes, "Are you still in radio?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, you're one of the few that ever liked me that are still in radio." And he's a Pentecostal preacher now.
Wow.
And he says, "Keep it up, man." He says, "I know what you feel inside." And when you make those connections with people like that,
yeah,
it's that's intangible. It's one of those, man, I got someone in my corner. Just knowing that they are there, and I can call Ken. I'll call you, Ken, and say, "Ken, I'm having an issue with this."
Yeah.
Because I know what you bring to the table. So it's the same thing. I can bring something to the table. You wouldn't believe it's not a spark. I remember my wife calling, or in the middle of the night, we get phone calls when I was a local DJ. "Hey, is this Jay Fox? Yeah, we're down here at the bar, and we got a trivia question. We can't come up with the answer." The Everly Brothers. Okay, bye.
Wow.
And because they knew that I knew my stuff about the music.
Wow.
She would always say, "My gosh, you get phone calls in the middle of the night from the listeners." And, yeah. And I have a stalker. And in the state of Texas, there's no anti-stalking law. They have to threaten your life 3 times within 24 hours. She threatened my life twice in 24 hours, but not the third, the magic third. She moved because she thought I was on in Los Angeles. I was broadcasting on a station in Riverside. And she knew for sure that she and I were husband-wife. My 2 kids that I talk about on the radio, she would send things to them for the beginning of the school year. They have little outfits, and she'd send money, her passport, things like that, birth certificate. I'd send that all corporate, and it just freaked me out. Then one day she moved to Dallas. This is when I was 18. And she moved to Dallas, 2 blocks away from the network. And we would see this lady sitting out on the front lawn every day about 9:45 a.m. because I got off at 10. And she was waiting for me to come out the front door. I went out the back door because that's where the garage is. She finally figured that out.
Oh, my God.
One day she found out what kind of automobile I drove, and she tried to follow me home. Thank goodness to a previous career in Iowa. I was a sheriff's deputy, another thing I did. And I just did a little evasive moves, and she was gone. Now she moved back somewhere else, but
good Lord,
she was a number. She knew that our kids were her and our kids, and she was adamant about how great they were, and she would try and describe them, and like, "Ma'am, you are way off." But, yeah, dude, I would get that's so weird. Had a guy in El Paso call me, and not in El Paso, in Midland. He called one day, and he said he'd put a bomb in the parking lot of this big building. Called the FBI, and I said, "Look, I got a guy on the line right here." Next thing I know, I get this big award from FBI. "Thank you for bringing in a criminal," blah, 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 blah. Yeah, nothing ever happened. The guy was joking. You don't joke about stuff like that. Not after 9/11, which I was that happened too, by the way.
You were on the air.
I was on the air as it happened, and brought in the ABC national feed, and then we had to sit there. The hardest show I've ever done was the day after. It was September 12th. That was the hardest show I've ever done in my life.
I'm sure, dude.
Because what do you say? You don't do jokes. I can't be who I am and have fun because I love doing what I do. It was one of the most real, and that's when I realized how powerful real is on the radio. And after things toned down, then I used to do a thing called, oh gosh, Heartstrings Thursday. And I would read stories, and people say, well, I want your voice to read this. So I would read these stories every Thursday right at the same time, and we get all these phone calls from women saying, I gotta learn not to put makeup on before I go to work. Well, tell me, Alice Cooper.
So you and Delilah.
Oh, I got me show you right.
What's hilarious is I mean, Glenn is an internationally known movie star, and but he can't. He's like, we got to have Delilah on our show. Like, he wants to have her, and he can't get her to like call him. Like, he can't get it. Like, I don't think she thinks it's real or something. I don't
Probably.
know. I'm like, dude, call your agent. I'm sure he can get a hold of Delilah, for the love of God. But anyways,
that's some powerful strings. It's him.
Oh, right. So,
why do you think I hang with him, huh?
Yeah. So 2020 was an interesting year for sure, and unfortunately, man, the suicide rate went through the roof. People are lost. They don't know what to do. They feel a lot of fear and uncertainty and all of that. And if somebody reached out to you and said, man, I've done everything I know how to do, my electric's being shut off, my car's being repossessed, I don't know which way to turn, what would you say to somebody in that moment to help them? Because you and I know it's never permanent. Everything changes. But what would you say to somebody in that moment to help them get through to the next moment?
I don't really know. It happens, and it's happened several times this last year where people have called me and said, oh, you've been so, as you say, you're blessed and undeserving. I don't feel that I'm blessed, and I think I'm deserving death. And they've said some really cold things. I'm going, wow. And it gets your attention real fast.
Yeah.
But that's when I open up to the energy. The Lord will talk through me or something. And literally, I have said things to people. I have no idea what I said, because I turn off and the voice turns on. And people have said, thank you. That's exactly what I needed to hear. What did I say?
Right.
And it's like, if that's the way the Lord wants to use me, then I'm game. I'm game. And
Wow.
It's not once or twice. It's a lot. I get a lot of people who have heard that I'll do, and I can't believe I'm doing this on this broadcast. But people said that you have this connection. I said, I don't know that I have a connection. It just happens. And then after this big conversation, I have no idea what I said. And so I'm assuming that's what it is. But I tell people there's so much positive in this world, so much. Just look at a beautiful sunrise or a sunset and tell me that life itself isn't just beautiful. That this is our gift. This is a huge birthday party that we're birthday, and the party goes on for the rest of your life. Enjoy it. It's I know it sounds goofy and stuff, but if you can twist them just to anything that's a little positive, it generally plants that seed. And then they start to ease back and they think, yeah, that's right. And we've got a Bon Jovi concert coming up that I'm going to go to or whatever. And they start looking at the positive. And that's the only thing I've ever been able to really tell. I just try and be positive and bring some humor, if I can, to a very ugly moment. And I don't buy it when they say, look, I'm going to commit suicide. Oh, really? And then I start on the positive, because if I say, oh, wow, how do you plan to do it? I'm going to help them plan it is what I'm going to do. And I don't want to do that. So I immediately ignore the fact that they're saying they're going to commit suicide. I ignore it verbally, not mentally.
Right.
Watch them for weeks on end. I'll watch them.
Yeah.
And I've made some very dear, dear friends that I've literally pulled back from the edge. And I just thank the Lord every time I get to do that.
I love what Phil says right here. It's
Yes,
very,
it is. It is very, very personal. Most of the time, it's you alone with me. That's right. Exactly. I'm sitting in a studio. And that's why I'll get on a stage and I'm uncomfortable. I'm in front of people. I'm uncomfortable. I live in a small room talking to millions.
yeah.
You think, Ken. I know you do. And when you first started, you're like, well, I know there's somebody in New York thinking, what a goofball this guy is.
Dude, I always say the first time I went live, I was nervous as a hooker in church. I mean, I was scared to death. And I teach a lot of the things that you're saying is part of. I mean, I teach just be you and authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking to when you're solo on a live stream, you're talking to one person.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
talking to one person. And sometimes, I'll see 100 comments, so I know there's a bunch of people, but I still try to address everybody on an individual level. And I know that's what you're doing too, and that's what makes you successful at what you're doing.
It's exactly, you make those connections. I'm a firm believer, if you touch someone's heart once, you have them for life. They will follow you forever because you touch that heart. And that's my main thing, is I try and do things that are real. We're on other other podcasts and things talking about being real and how you survive certain things. And that's the way I live my life. You look for those things. You look for the positives. You look for a chance to help somebody. And it's the way to run your life. And I finished the show this morning. Okay, I did my radio show, shut everything down, turned this thing on, and I was terrified. You come up and going, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And I always say that being nervous before going on stage or going on the air or doing anything, being nervous is such a good thing for you, because it means internally, I want to give you my best. I'm terrified I'm not going to come up with the best. I'm going to say something stupid.
But it wakes up your endorphins. It wakes them up. And I think that you're right. It's a really good thing, man. And I remember 2019, I was hired to come to Vegas to speak to 500 people in this audience. And I've done thousands of live streams, but it had been 18 years or better since I had stood on a stage. And I'm like, holy shit. Whatever.
Give me some depends. I'm going on stage in 10 minutes.
I was like, holy crap, man. But, I did find, though, that being on stage in front of a live audience is much easier than doing a live stream where you can see people coming and going from your audience. In front of a live audience, you don't see the numbers.
You don't see someone going to the bathroom. But
you don't see it. But dude, you have an amazing story. I genuinely appreciate you coming on and investing time with me and everybody watching. And if people wanted to follow you, what's it? Not stalk you, no stalking.
I don't know, because I'm on so many radio stations. I don't even know all the stations I'm on. Yeah, some of my I can tell you the names of them and stuff. I got to know what city you're in and stuff. And if I'm there, I don't know, because I'm on a lot.
What about social media? Are you on social?
Oh yeah, I'm on. I do J Fox. I do J Fox Productions is the name of my business, and the wedding DJ thing, and I'm on that all the time. But yeah, absolutely.
You have a website?
jfoxproductions.com. I don't do the radio one. I do radio, but that's only through the affiliates that I do that one with, to make sure.
Olga says she's already.
Olga, you and I are going to talk anyway, so.
She said looking forward to tomorrow. That's all. You guys are going to chat. That's right. I remember that. Yeah. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. J Fox,
so much.
Dude, you rock, man. You rock, and you killed this interview. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for the comments too. I haven't been seeing them. Well, I'm gonna have to go back and review this thing and see what everybody said. But I saw some names I know and love, and I appreciate you taking the time to drop a hello and stuff. And thank you.
And I by the way, I have a song that I'll bet you can't name the performers.
Oh, okay. The performers? Maybe I can't. I don't know personnel that much, but go ahead. Let's see what we can do. Make a fool of me right here. Go ahead. Parting shot.
Well, this is a real oldie. This might be, that might be 50s. It might be 50s. By Mir Bisduchesne.
Oh my gosh. I'm here, Mr. Shane. I know the Beatles did it.
All the girls I've known and I've known some.
Well, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, I have not done Stump the DJ now in so many years.
I know. It's Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet.
Okay, who did it?
Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet.
Edie Gourmet. You're right. You're right.
I only know that because I had never heard of it, and karaoke. I'd never heard of them ever. I'm like, who the hell's that?
Never heard it.
This woman. I was at this is years ago. I'm doing karaoke one night, and the woman that owns the karaoke company loved my voice, and she's like, "Oh my God, you've got to sing this song with me." And I'm like, "What song?" She's like, way older than me, and I'm like, "What song?" And she's like, "It's Steve. You do Steve Lawrence. I'll do Edie Gourmet." And I'm like, "Who the hell's Steve Lawrence? Like who? What?" And so I had to, she's like, "I'm going to give you the CD. I want you to take it home and learn it and come back next week." And I'm like, "Oh, for the love of God." But I ended up doing it.
Karaoke, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So, dude, I really appreciate you coming on. You're such a good guy. I appreciate the time, and your story is incredible, man. And everybody go follow Jay Fox on Facebook and Instagram. And Jay, if there's anything I can ever do for you, just all you got to do is ask, man. So
likewise.
Yeah.
I would really made a nice connection in a short period of time. It's like, when you ask me, it's like, yes, I want to be on there because I love this show. I'm watching continuously. And then I'm blabbing way too much because I'll come off the air and I got that adrenaline going. It's like momentum. My wife goes, "You talk so much." It's momentum. I can't stop.
Right.
I'm throwing in smart aleck remarks as fast as I can to get into you and see if I can break you up. But I was waiting for the, all right, Jay, that's enough.
Yeah, I love it, dude. So Jay Fox, thank you very much. Stay with me. I'm going to end the live stream, but stay with me here. Everybody make sure you go follow Jay Fox, and it's jayfoxproductions.com, right?
Correct. JAYFOX Productions.
You know what? I'm gonna throw it in here. So before we go,
the wedding job stuff, but I'll be doing
Jay Fox.
Be a place.
Is that where they can hire you for wedding stuff too?
Yeah.
jayfoxproductions.com. There it is, scrolling across the bottom of the screen.
Wow. All right, it's out now. That's it.
Yeah. So, and you're for hire for weddings, and I'm sure corporate stuff.
In fact, I became an officiant. Someone said, "I like your voice. My mom says she likes your voice, and she wants you to marry us." I said, I'm not an official, an officiant or minister or anything. "Well, if we pay for it, will you do it?" "You're paying for it?" I did it. And that has got that little movement right there saved me through this last year. No one's got any extra work. No one's doing weddings. They're all postponing them. So 21 is filled up with all my 20s, all the 20 weddings. They're all now. So I'm not making any new stuff there, but I started doing a lot of ceremonies.
Do you do voiceover work at all?
Yep.
I'm sure. I was going to say, that
the winning commercial for the radio commercial for the Super Bowl. But I do lots of major sponsors and stuff, and then all our affiliates and stuff. They constantly, "We want that guy." So
yeah.
Dude,
yeah, that's awesome, man. I might talk to you about doing some voiceover stuff for me, man. So,
hey, buddy, I'm there for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, stay with me, man. What'd you say?
And I'm cheap for you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So stay with me. I'm going to end the live stream, and then I want to chat with you real quick.
Thank you, everybody. I love
Thank you, everybody. Thank you if you shared this out. If you did not share this out, Jay will be blasting your name and all over the world on tomorrow's.
Tomorrow morning, guaranteed. 7:15. Got your name.
Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much, Jay. Stay with me though. Don't hang up. See you guys.